will be created there where 30, 40 people are gathered there. It encourages vending.
Okay.
It encourages the guy with the craft. It encourages the guy who strum a guitar and sing a calypso and can make a tip.
Yep.
So that is the kind of development that we have to be thinking about. Sometime last month I was in Barbados, and I visited the Harrison cave.
Yeah.
I had the privilege to visit that cave before it was developed, so I knew it was just a cave.
Yeah.
And there was nothing to see there. Today, if you go there and you're really into the heritage and tourism vibes, Terry, you can easily spend 4 hours there.
Oh yeah.
I spent about 3.5 hours there. We went into the cave, we took a tour, drive around inside the cave. We came out, it was time for lunch.
Wow.
When we were leaving, it was time to pass in the souvenir shop. Now I can't go to the Harrison cave and come back home without bringing anything to show that I was there. I have a family, I have a wife, I have a family, I have friends. So that is the kind of development of the product I want to see. So we are big, we are thinking heavily and making sure that we develop our products. And there are a lot of products in Grenada, a lot of products. We have the forts, we have Welcome Stone, we have Lippers Hill. Terry, all these products need to be developed and converted into a scenario where we can collect a fee and do something with it.
So the idea now is, can we have some of our vendors with technical assistance develop miniature forts, miniature Welcome Stone, miniature this, miniature that, miniature lake? These are all products that can be developed.
Well, it brings me, and that point, Terry, you raised, it brings me right straight into the whole question of community tourism.
Yep.
There are a lot of people that are doing things that tourists like, and I always want to keep that word in mind. Those words, local tourists, foreign tourists. A lot of people are getting themselves involved in activities of that nature, attracting people, and they're not aware of the potential it has. Our government and our responsibility is to hold these people by the hand and help them to move forward and develop the product. So presently, in 2024, we're going to spend $1 million in what we call community tourism, helping these people. And then going forward, we're going to be scouting and looking for the people that have the product, have the idea, and that's what the creative economy is all about. Help them develop the idea, help them develop the product, and whereby they can create employment for themselves, create employment for other people, and be part and parcel of the tourist industry.
Well, it is such a wide industry with just so many borders. You can do so much with it. And I'm glad you mentioned about the community tourism. Now, this $1 million budget that is allocated for this, what are some of the plans associated with it?
Well, this again, Terry, is a pilot project. And we really and truly want to make sure that it's successful. There are people who are involved in agro industry. There are people who are involved in creating scenario where tourists can visit the plot. There's a gentleman in St. Andrew. He has what they call a museum. There is a museum. I've seen pictures of it, and I'm going to be visiting him soon. I mean, what the guy has there and what he has in terms of exhibiting, it's tremendous. And I think what he needs to do, he needs a home for those products that he has there. He needs help. The advisor in the Ministry of Tourism has encouraged me to pay him a visit, and I'm going to definitely pay him a visit. So those are some of the areas that we want to develop. There are people who are involved in the fishing industry. There are people who are involved in the sculpture. I mean, it's a product again that we have, and the entrance to get to the sculpture park is a waiting area, and there isn't anything much there. So if you're waiting there isn't anything much to do. Yes, we have a restroom, we have a little bar, but that's it. So in the peak season, you want to create a scenario where you can generate enough activities that could create some form of economy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So indeed. Now, the $1 million budget, how can someone hearing about this now engage?
This is a project that has been already closed and it's in operationalized now.
Oh, so
yes, it has been closed and it's moving on, and we are executing it now and working along with the 15 people that was successful. There were about another 60 people who applied and they didn't get through because they didn't, the standard, they were not there as yet. So our responsibility is to walk along with them and get them, because they have an idea and they are engaged.
Right.
Our responsibility is to train them, get in contact with them, have a dialogue with them, make sure that they are on board for the next project to come.
Yep. Okay, that's great. And I know there was talk about a zip line from Granitang to Grandance. What is the status with that?
Well, no,
or was it just a dream?
I have not gotten into this one as yet, Terry. But this is a very ambitious one. And but zip lines generally is something we can entertain in Grenada. We have a lot of hills and valleys. So from moving from one hill and just riding over the valley and getting to the other.
Absolutely.
I mean, you take the one from the Rungs in St. George, and when you stand there and you look across on the foot there, I mean, it could be an amazing zip line. But it's not something that is on our agenda right now as I speak, but it's something that we can engage ourselves in not too long in the distant future.
Well, can you use your good office to invite the private sector to invest in it? Or as a matter of fact, I'll take this opportunity to invite the diaspora to invest in such a project. And should they therefore communicate with the Ministry of Tourism or the Ministry of Finance or GIDC, where would be that department that can receive such an interest?
Well, one of the responsibilities of the Ministry of Tourism is to create the enabling environment, so to facilitate and accommodate people, and especially people from the private sector who want to invest in the country. Our responsibility is to put all mechanisms in place so that we may be able to work with them. One of the incentives that we have also put forward is the whole question of granting concessions. You'll be even right along. He has not left the whole question of doing his journalism, but he's also a key stakeholder in terms of offering a service to the tourists. And I had the privilege of having a dialogue with him. He is now in the e-bikes and so on, and is a project that is developing. I know after this program he will be giving me a call and tell me he needs some more help. But we are happy to help people of that nature. So if you're from the private sector and you want to get involved in the tourism business, maybe your first dialogue, have a dialogue with GIDC, have a dialogue with the Ministry of Tourism, GTA, all the stakeholders there, they will give you the appropriate advice, and we are willing to help and work along with people, especially in the private sector. Government cannot do it by themselves. We just cannot do it by ourselves. We do not have all the resources, and if the private sector has the resources and they want to plow it into the industry, we are quick to facilitate.
All right. Now, just a thought ran through my mind. The great river in River Road, St. John's River, that has so much potential for the tourism industry, it ain't funny. And what I'm seeing there is that we can have the appropriate retainer walls here and there, dam the water, and create so much activity on the water. For example, in Italy, you can go onto these, what they call gondolas. Just a little boat with a guy oaring, music in the back. He has tourists there and just going down the stream, back and forth. Yeah. Big industry. Innovation. Get creative.
Get creative, and that will be the creative economy will be willing. The Office of Creative Affairs will be willing to assist people in that direction. River tubing is something that is growing in Balthazar area, and those guys will tell. I mean, it has been going on for quite a while now, and we can create, and you don't want to disturb the environment but just enhance it. Create the environment where you can start up all the way up and where they call up there and just river tube go right down to the mouth of the sea. But those are things that we could encourage and facilitate once the private sector comes forward, we will encourage them.
All right. So what about the possibility of creating like a shopping list? These are some of the areas that we'd like to see developed under the Ministry of Tourism and the GTA.
That's a fantastic.
Take your pick. Take your pick which one you want.
That's a fantastic idea, Terry. If we can take the initiative and do some brainstorming and encourage people in terms of the areas, but maybe we need to do some serious studies, and in the coming weeks and months we will be looking at some possible areas that we need to explore, so that we can develop, especially in things that we have already have. We want to enhance them and develop them first, and before we go into new areas. But we will not stop anybody in the private sector who come with a new initiative, because I mean, thinking is for everybody in Grenada. It's not for one set of people. So if they come with and a lot of times you get brilliant ideas coming from the private sector, and they are the one who move our society. So we depending on them to come up with some of these initiatives, and once we can help, we will help.
Great. So St. David seemed to be receiving a lot of attraction with respect to new hotels. The Six Senses and just open up and so forth, beautiful. And I understand another one is expected in the St. David. You want to tell us about that new hotel project?
Well, St. David's have always been an attractive area, Terry, and you can testify to that.
Indeed.
I mean, you look at the people in St. David.
Okay. Say no more.
Good-looking people.
Say no more. I wouldn't argue at all.
But I would like to see that St. David's is an area that has the potential for a lot of development. It has a lot of land space, very nice peninsulas, from Calivini go right up all the way to Latent, Crucial, and I think that in the future St. David's will be the parish to really develop. What Six Senses is, I mean, what Six Senses has done there, I mean, it's tremendous. It's fantastic. I mean, the way they have inserted themselves in the environment. It's not a big, tall skyscraper building with 20 floors or 30 floors. It's just nice little villas, beautiful villas with the environment right in your face. And that, I mean, I'm pleased to see, and I would like to see about a dozen more of that in Grenada, where you can just go and just integrate yourself in the environment. And that is what sustainable tourism is all about. So Six Senses is there, is up and running. And then we have another sister hotel to Six Senses, the Continental, Intercontinental Resort. That hotel is on stream, and we're looking for in the next 2 or 3 years to be up and running also. And I think that in itself, the development of those 2 hotels will definitely be a starting point, an initiative for other people to follow in terms of putting more establishments of that nature in St. David. So St. David has the potential to move forward. Lasajas playing field is right there. It is now lit. We have there's a gentleman contemplating on reviving the agro processing plant in Lasajas. That in itself is a plus. The minister, the MP for St. David will tell you that how much he's focusing on developing the community centers, because he wants to engage the people. I think he sees the value of engaging people, having dialogue with people, because you cannot have all these projects that are going on and developing, and you think and you have you beat yourself on the shoulder and you say, my community is developing. I call it superficial development if the people are being left behind. So the people have to be in it. There is no sense. Only last week I was making the point in Trinidad to a young lady who is involved in the hotel industry in Grenada, and I said to her, do not ever think of developing any big hotel in any vicinity, and you drive along with your glass up, ignoring all the blocks, the guys on the blocks who comes there 6 in the morning and leave 6 in the evening, nothing to do, unemployed people. Do not ignore these people. If these people are there uneasy, your industry will be uneasy. So we have a responsibility to create some more employment, to guide our people, give them the necessary guidance, make them feel part and parcel of the industry. And if we do that, we'll have a society where all of us can enjoy. You cannot be living high and mighty and you have the bulk of people not happy. They will make you unhappy. So
Well,
we have a responsibility to fix that as quick as possible.
well, you have touched a knob there that has troubled our beautiful island over the last few weeks.
Yes.
And it's a matter that we all have to collaborate and contribute towards eradicating, and to embrace such individuals whom engage in not so very pleasant activities. And our history, of course, and our record shows that we are indeed the safest island in the entire Caribbean. Record would show this. And if one incident should occur, then it will be too many. How can tourism play its part in embracing these individuals and making them part of an industry? I don't want to call it a shooting industry.
Yes, yeah, no, I get your point, and before, and only last week when I was in Cuba, and maybe we can talk a little about Cuba in a while. The Minister for Tourism in Cuba and I, we had a conversation, and one of the similarity that we picked up among ourselves is the safety and security of our country.
Very critical.
Very critical. And Terry, I'm happy to talk on that, because Grenada, despite the little problems that we have and we're facing, Grenada is still regarded as a very safe destination compared to other Caribbean islands and other parts of the world. And to be more specific, the Caribbean on a whole is viewed as a very safe destination,
zone of peace.
A zone of peace, and we have to preserve that. And I think sometimes I don't like to be talking about all the negatives and how searching for solutions to cure the disease that we have. I like to engage people in the discussion of preventative measures. How did our people get there, and how can we today prevent others from going in that direction? So I like that conversation too. But the reality is we have a problem on our hands and we have to face it. But we have to work hand in hand in terms of avoiding any more people from getting in that direction. We have to come to our own soul searching, that the young individual who are involved in activities of that nature must ask himself the question. We must put the question to them: is your action or your inaction contributing to the tourism industry? And if they cannot give the answer straightforward, then we could have a sit down, have a dialogue. But the taxi man need to ask himself, is my activity, my profession contributing to tourism, or is it not contributing? My action and my inaction. Because sometimes you're doing things and you're not too clear whether it's contributing to society unless somebody point it out to you. And the value, and then you're not doing something, and because you're not doing it, you're contributing negatively.
Well, the thing is, we spoke earlier on about the wide range of stakeholders. And the question, therefore, is what are our stakeholders doing to contribute to ensuring that we have this continued peace and serenity in Grenada? What are our churches doing? What is our business community doing? What are the NGOs doing? And it goes on and on.
Yeah.
What are agriculture workers doing? What are the fishermen doing? The taxi drivers, the vendors? We have to take this on as a holistic responsibility to ensure the continued peace, security, and tranquility continues in this land.
And we take it for granted that we are peaceful, we are friendly people. We take it for granted, so we don't do anything about it. And then what activates us, what kick us, what get us going is when something happens. And we try to look for solution. I always tell my friends, I visit the doctor regularly. But I visit the doctor not because sickness don't bring me to the doctor. Preventative measures bring me to the doctor. And that's why maybe for the last I've never been hospitalized yet, thank God. And I want to continue living that healthy life. So you take preventative measures. I'm not waiting until I'm sick to go and find solutions. It's too expensive. So you want to go the cheaper way, what I can afford. Eat well, do your exercises, visit the professionals who know you better, because my car, Terry, goes to the mechanic on a regular basis.
More often than you go to the doctor.
More often than I go to the doctor, I change oil more often. You understand? So the whole question of taking preventive measures is crucial. And I believe that our people need to stop taking things for granted, and we have to teach people. Don't assume that they're going to learn and they're going to fall in line. We have to do the right thing. Teach our people how it is to live in peace, what it is all about to live in peace. Don't wait until they go to prison to encourage them how to live in peace. It's too late sometimes. But there's a problem at our hands. We have to deal with it, and I know the Prime Minister is working day and night to ensure that we nip it in its bud and make sure that this thing doesn't happen again.
Well, as a matter of fact, I mean, what I've expressed to you is basically the vision of the Prime Minister in a meeting which we had last night. The involvement of the entire nation, all the organizations, including school children. We all have a responsibility, a holistic responsibility, to ensure that our communities are safe. And you deal with it community by community by community.
Right.
And eventually the entire country will be secured. So tourism, I realize, is going to be playing a major role in that aspect, because you impact the entire population.
Well, no, it's an industry that you want it to continue to grow, and you do not want these little disruptive processes to take hold of it. You want to make sure that you have a smooth sailing. So the Ministry of Tourism, we're just trying to put a public awareness team together, a communication team in the ministry. Unfortunately, we don't have one in the way that we should have ones to really put out the information and the documents that going to educate our people and make them feel part and parcel of the whole thing. So we have a responsibility to do some serious public awareness. The Ministry of Education going to take up the responsibility also. The police have their communication unit, and I know they're going to be doing some work. And we are appealing to the public. In the neighborhood, you have a responsibility. When you see your neighbor is not going in the right direction that's going to benefit you, the society, and the country as a whole, you have a responsibility to knock on his door and say, brother, that is not the direction we want to go. That is not the direction we are accustomed to. That is not the direction our parents left for us. And that is not the direction that's going to cause our society to develop in a way that we can all benefit.
Wonderful point indeed. And before we go on this break, we want to appeal to our DJs. They have a major responsibility on the type of music which they feed to the population. Them kind of a gangster type of songs is not for our airwaves. And we must know that music impacts the brain. Please ensure it is positive, especially to our young population.
Definitely.
We're going to take a short break, and we're back with you in a moment.
Okay, what about for the Bahamas? For the Bahamas, obviously I understand the allure, kind of nonstop flights. So for the Bahamas, as a dupe, I recommend Grenada. Right now we have nonstop flights from Atlanta, Miami, and New York. And what I love about Grenada is that it has a beautiful, awesome kind of mix between the African, European, and Caribbean culture. So again, where Bahamas can feel a little bit more commercialized, like big, kind of big box hotels, here you're going to find amazing waterfalls, rich green rainforest. I love the Marine Sculpture Park, which is indeed one of the highlights there. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can snorkel or dive to it, and it's beautiful. In the rainforest, you can also do these beautiful hikes where you get to these gorgeous waterfalls with gigantic pools where you can kind of like just dive into. So much more of a rich culture, a lot of great restaurants outside of the infrastructure of hotels. And so that's why I recommend Grenada in place of Nassau.
Welcome back to the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We want to say welcome to all those who are on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, 100.5 FM, those who are on the NDC Facebook feed, and I hope that you are sharing the live, and of course those who are looking on YouTube. Before we take the break, Senator, I did indicate, can you give us an update on the Kowana Bay project? What's the latest with it in the Grand Anse area?
Well, Terry, we have tied up all the deals. Excuse me. We have tied up the deal already, and with the investor. It's in his hands now. I think he has given us 2.5, 3 years to complete the construction of this hotel and put it into operation. We had some difficulties with the previous investor. We were almost taken back to the court. Similar court proceedings like what we had with Grenlec. As a government, we really didn't want to go through there again, so we engaged the former investor. We sat down as two as gentlemen, and we were able to resolve the matter out of court, and this was fantastic. And I think the Prime Minister and the Attorney General must be commended for the hard work, and other people who were involved for the hard work in terms of negotiating with the former investor, and we were happy that we didn't have to wait that long to find a new investor, who is this, I wouldn't call his name here now, but I mean the public will know as we move forward, and the investor is willing to immediately get into motion and make sure that the project comes on stream in 2.5, 3 years time. So that project is up and running.
In a nutshell, had we allowed this matter to go to the International Court of Disputes, what kind of impact would that have on Grenada, including possible costs, additional costs?
Well, first and foremost, we do not want to spend that kind of money that the government had to pay Grenlec. We don't want to spend that kind of money again. Secondly, we are promoting a CBI program that is doing excellent. Is bringing a lot of benefits to the country. You do not want to do anything that are going to jeopardize that, are going to threaten that project. So it was important that we stay out of the court. No investor want to come to Grenada and after 6, 7 months or a year have to find himself being involved in court matters, trying to resolve matter. We are civilized people. We should be thinking positive and making sure that we do not find ourselves in situations where we cannot resolve it by having a dialogue, and we have to go to the international court. So this would have created a serious negative impact on the CBI program. And apart from the CBI program, people want to come and invest and relax in your country. And if you have governments antagonizing the whole process and leading in that direction, then you could understand what your society will turn out to be. You do not want your society to go in that direction. So we will cross our T's and dot our I's and make sure that those things don't happen, and those things do not come like a hindrance in terms of our development of our progress. So it was important that we resolve that matter.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Let it not be litigation in the international court and putting a sour banner on the head of Grenada.
Not at all. You don't want to be noted for that.
Absolutely. Tell me, your recent trip to Cuba. Tell us about it. How did that go?
Well, it was a. First of all, I was invited in Cuba by the Minister for Tourism. He had an international trade fair there, on tourism, and he thought it would have been wise to invite Grenada, and I was very happy for the invitation. Unfortunately, I didn't land in Havana because landing in Havana would have taken me 12 hours driving to get to the area that I wanted to go, and we used that golden opportunity to sign a memorandum of understanding with the government of Cuba in regards to tourism, the development of our industry. And this was it. I mean, the public will hear much more about it in regards to how we decide to cooperate with Cuba. Cuba has a lot to offer, and unfortunately, the U.S. embargo, which is unjust, unfair, and unrealistic in this modern day, just depriving the world of a golden opportunity to see the beautiful country of Cuba and the fantastic people. And what I can see in terms of similarity, Terry, it's a safe destination. Cuba the hospitality of the people is quite similar to Grenada also, and I think we will be able to capitalize on the work they are doing in terms of developing the tourism product. We'll be able to utilize the expertise and the experience, and that memorandum of understanding augurs well in terms of cooperating with Cuba. Cuba must be seen as a partner in this whole business and not as a competitor. While we may have similarities, our product is unique to each other, and I think the signing of this memorandum augurs well for the development of our country and our tourism industry.
Well, I know for certain Cuba will be able to give tremendous help with respect to the creation of arts, craft, and so forth for the vendors and so forth in Grenada. They are extremely creative people. Matter of fact, they were forced into being creative.
Most definitely. A lot of areas that Cuba has ventured into, a lot of Caribbean islands have not ventured into that as yet. And over the years, because of the embargo, they have been forced to be resilient people, and the benefits that come from that is tremendous.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that is what going to move them forward, and that is what innovate them to go forward.
Absolutely.
So I'm hoping that just like how we have a lot of doctors and nurses coming onto Grenada in the Ministry of Health, we have people in the Ministry of Education, we have people in construction, architects coming to Grenada from Cuba. I will be definitely engaging the Cubans to help us in regards to getting some experts in the tourism industry to assist us in the development of our products and the development of the industry. So we will have a lot of engagement in terms of going forward.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of excitement to look forward to.
Most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
From our brothers and sisters in Cuba.
Definitely so, indeed. Now, time has quickly caught up with us, so tell us about your recent appointment as the chairman of the OECS Tourism Council.
Well, Terry, when I left the Ministry of Agriculture, I had to hand over the chairmanship to the new minister in agriculture, Mr. Lennox Andrew, and I came into the Ministry of Tourism in January, and I think in March it was Grenada turn to head the Ministers' Council in the OECS in regards to tourism. So I had to hit the ground running. I only had the opportunity to chair 2 emergency meetings, so you can understand how my introduction into the OECS Council of Ministers was done. But I stood with the Agricultural Council, so I'm quite familiar in terms of what it's all about, and I'm quite happy to serve the OECS, and many of the colleagues, I met them before, and I will be engaging them as much as possible to see what we can do for the OECS in regards to tourism.
Great. Well, time has caught up with us, so let me invite you, therefore, to give your final closing remarks.
Well, Terry, I must say it was a pleasure being on the Heartbeat program today. I must say that the information that I have given out and what you have dug out of me, I think the people will be quite happy to hear what we have in store for the development of tourism in Grenada, and I look forward to having another Heartbeat program so in the next couple of months, so that at least we can keep the people abreast in terms of what is happening and what is going on in that very important ministry.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so very much indeed, Senator. It's been a pleasure as usual to have you on the Heartbeat.
All the best.
And let me thank all those who joined our podcast today, and we'll be back again next Sunday when we'll do it all over again.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, and you have a lot of challenges now ahead of you.
Oh yeah, I do.
Thank you so very much, and have a great Sunday afternoon. See you again next week.